Hello, fabulous Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of April 2014, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Well, this month starts with the energy that you're still carrying. As I spoke about last month, a very important new moon took place that had to do with friendships, all about friendships, adjusting, changing. And you are actually carrying that energy into this month. And so you can continue a lot of activity happening there. And what I'm seeing as a particularly notable sort of point of interest in this is that it's you that's sort of relying on people in new ways, but also seeing aspects of people as well that you hadn't been looking at before and deciding what it's going to mean to you now and for your future. And as part of this, I do think that at least one person is going to show up for you quite by surprise. And what I mean by that is it's almost as if you have a need, particularly an emotional need, and it is met by a very unlikely source, and yet it feels so right and it feels so comforting. And as I said, there's an element of friendship here, so I don't think this is someone who's new necessarily or completely out of left field. This is someone who you already have a connection to, likely haven't been so strongly connected to for the last little while, who now reappears as a more important figure than they have played in a while. And this ends up bringing you a new perspective and a new understanding of your direction, not only in terms of how you want to relate to people, but in many, many areas of life. I'm seeing lots of things change for you as a result of your experiences through friendship. And that energy is very dominant at the beginning of the month. But then we progress and things start to change a little bit for you. In particular, what I find interesting, you get towards the middle of the month and the energy becomes much more about creativity. It becomes much more about children as well and what you need to feel fulfilled, if you will. And in line with that, I do think that if those of you, because there are different levels of manifestation, those friends and fans who watch regularly know that I talk about the literal manifestations, but there are also other more spiritual, more energetic manifestations. And if you want a certain sort of physical expression of a celestial conversation, you can have that. If you see something coming and you're like, oh, I'm not so crazy about that, don't know if I want to manifest the ways in which it can manifest, well, you can resolve a lot of things on levels of energy. What we have happening is an energy of fertility, essentially. And at the same time, it's not only fertility, but it's also fruition as well. And so if you put those together, one very literal manifestation of this is children, okay? So this could be a child finally arriving. This could be a pregnancy. So if that's something that you want, that certainly is possible to you. Mainly what I see with this, though, is that it isn't so much about some external thing that's happening. I'm not seeing necessarily if you've been seeing doctors or whatever the case may be, if you're one of those people who's wanted to have children, if you have been sort of reaching out to others, it's not really going to come about as a result, at least not right now. It's not likely that you are going to reach that level of actually being pregnant or getting some good news through help, through medical help. It looks like it's something that just kind of happens for you and does leave you feeling very happy. It looks like it's a very personal process. Lots of things happening on a level of energy, not necessarily anything direct that someone else is doing for you or somewhere where you're getting help or whatever the case may be. It's a personal process. It's something that you're connected to. It's an energy of fertility that's growing within you, and it manifests in that way of a pregnancy or a child. So if that's something you want, awesome. If that's not something you want, then you know that there are lots of other ways that this can manifest. And you also know to take precautions, to be smart about it. So you can start to resolve these things on a level of energy. And ultimately, as I said, it's a creative energy, it's a fruition energy, it's a fertility energy. And you can use this in terms of having a creative idea, deciding that you're going to push this idea and actually have it count for something. If you have a project, if you have something that you desire to do, and usually it's a passion connected very deeply to you, and especially on a level of heart, then this is going to be the time when you can experience a personal breakthrough that adds immeasurably to what it is that you're trying to do. Once we get even further in the month, though, the energy switches up. It becomes much more personal, much more close to the surface. And I am seeing that the likelihood of sort of a secret being acknowledged is very strong. And this is actually energy that's happening right at the end of the month. You'll be carrying this into next month. And so just be mindful of that. This is likely to be, again, it goes to something very personal. It has to do with you and you not fully acknowledging how there are certain actions or things that you do that may be sabotaging your best efforts. But more than that, I think about this phrase of, and I'm going to just put it out there if I may, I think about this phrase, turning a blind eye. And that can apply to any area of life. But if you have in any way turned a blind eye to something that you know that you should be looking at more clearly, that you need to acknowledge some feelings as part of this that you haven't wanted to, and that's not what you wanted to look at, then this is going to be the time when those emotions do come forward and you are given the opportunity to really be cleansed of them. There's a very strong faith trying to take root for you, a new type of faith, a faith that is grounded and actually makes your life better, especially where it comes to your career and advancing your life, that actually makes your career better, that makes your work better. That's what's trying to happen towards the end of the month. But it's very linked to what's happening on other levels of energy as well. I would really advise you to keep a dream journal at this time, because I think that at least some of you out there are going to have some really wild visions and you can have fun playing with them, fun sort of figuring out what they mean symbolically, translating the symbols, which is always interesting. But more than that, I do think that in some cases the symbols are going to be very obvious, and it's just going to show you, as I said, the secret that you haven't wanted to acknowledge for a while. Well, you finally do, and as a result of that, it loses any power that it ever had over you. So as you let that go, you're going to find yourself renewed with a sense of fresh energy, renewed with a sense of faith, and renewed with a sense of connection and communion to everyone and everything. The type of connection that not only makes you feel better in the world, but actually advances your life in the most practical sense of the term. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.